My name is Rhapsody and welcome back to Cobalt Core, wherein we now know not to challenge the shopkeeper. You know, unless the run's really good. Shopkeeper is very, very deadly, as we found out at the end of the last run, is firing on all cylinders at all times of the first 2 turns, doing a ridiculous amount of damage across just a couple of lines. And then for the next, which was the final turn we were capable of seeing, firing not Jupiter missiles, sorry. Jupiter is what we're about to get into, hence it being in my head. But homing missiles instead. So, Jupiter. A comms vessel with no cannons of its own. It launches special Jupiter drones which channel its attacks. So at the start of combat you start with a Jupiter's moons. Launch an object from your missile bay for 1 energy. And every time you attack, that drone copies your attacks. I can't tell what that symbol on the Jupiter's Moons card is. There's maintain, keep in your hand at the end of turn. I believe the second symbol, the recycling symbol, is the symbol for put this back atop your deck after you play it. Which means you have access to a lot of these Jupiter's Moons. I imagine I'm probably not gonna want Isaac's, additional support for summoning more drones, as the attacks of our self are going to be the ones that are copied. So taking someone like Perry, who does have particularly good attacks, seems like a really good idea here. I'll definitely tag Perry on. I guess there is something to be said for the possibility of using Isaac for, the ability to give bubbles to drones and things like that. He can create and manipulate meteor objects. So really, it would be Isaac giving us the ability to manipulate the positioning of our Jupiter drones and things like that, which actually that's pretty significant. I'm starting to come around on it. I'm not certain Drake makes a huge amount of sense here. Hired Mercenary, her cards are strong attacks and status effects, but be careful not to overheat. I imagine the Jupiter drone itself would not be able to gain burn, or possibly even give burn back to us by copying the attack. Which means that there are some really, really powerful things that we can copy out of Drake, but we're already looking to do that out of Perry, so I feel like this needs to be a slot for either utility, represented in Max and Riggs, or defense, represented in Dizzy. I feel like defense is probably the right one there. So I'll take it. So here's the Jupiter, we've got a wing, then an empty space, a comms area, which takes 1 more damage from all attacks, a missile bay, a cockpit, which will be brittle as we're playing on the hardest mode, and then another wing on the final side. Let's go in. So we got to take a negative here. I definitely don't want to lose Max shield. The only path with 2 elites has no repair yards on it, which means that removing cards from the deck is a little bit harder. I'll lose the 2 max hull. And then upgrade a card, remove 2 cards, or pick from 3 uncommon cards. Picking an uncommon card to start here could be really good. Give me the possibility of getting a good attack, or maybe some good support for drones, midline objects. There would also be the possibility of removing 2 basic shots from the deck to try and set myself... Oh! There's a basic shift in the deck now. Interesting. Haven't had that prior. But it'd be interesting to remove 2 copies of the basic shot here. Effectively putting myself in a position where... Oh wow, I wonder if my drone can lunge. Where I'm ready to start drafting any other attacks that I find, and they will be better represented in my deck. I think I will go for the 1 of 3 uncommon cards, because I think that's probably going to make us more powerful by the time we get to these encounters. Is that true? No, it's the removal. I was trying. I was doing some heavy lifting there to get myself off of this path, but no, I'm going to be removing those too. Oh man, I'll never get used to this. It's like waking up from a dream I've had 1,000 times. But the details fade as I try to remember them. Interesting. No one else reported dreams. This might be an actual data point about how the time loop works. What happens in the dream? I remember standing on the surface of a barren planet. And then there's a blinding flash on the horizon, and a white sphere of light that expands to fill the sky, and I wake up just before the blast reaches me. Oh. Oh, that's just a normal anxiety dream. Ah. Yeah, that's a common, buddy. Get on board. Is it just me, or was it a rougher start to the loop than usual? It could certainly have been. You and Isaac share that opinion. Incoming damage this turn is 2, a single block shot and shield surge will put us in good position. Of course, the block shot is not going to be able to be copied by anyone because I haven't got a Jupiter's Moon out yet. I could also just move one space to the left to immediately avoid all damage, launch out a drone. Yeah. I've got to get a Jupiter's Moon on board. And then I'm only firing from it. Oh no, if I do the block shot... You know what? This is an important data point. I want to do other things this turn, but I need to figure out how the duplication works. Okay, so secondary effects are applied to my main ship, which means that I would have gotten extra overburn. Assuming, you know, I had 2 Jupiter drones fire it, or had my own cannon and a Jupiter's drone fire it. I'm gonna take some utility in a basic shift rather than trying to burn out the corrupted core there. I think that'd be too greedy. Perfect. Here, though, I'm going to use a single basic dodge to move myself 1 to the left, send down another Jupiter's Moon, and then multi-shot from both of them for 4 damage. I legitimately wonder if they will lunge. No, I will lunge, right? My body will lunge. Right? Let's try it. Okay, yeah, it's me. Which is better, because this puts me in a position now to put another Jupiter's Moon out on the board, and then a multi-shot from each of them for 6 damage. Oh boy. That card's good. Just gain some resources for future turns that might end up being relevant. Guess I'll basic dodge myself 1 to the left after summoning a Jupiter's Moon here. Get 1 more basic shift to set up for the firing squad here. Move them all the way over to the left and then multi-shot for a ridiculous amount of damage. Okay, so higher cost attacks, like deflection here, make a huge amount of sense to get copied. Because obviously they're going to be individually more impactful per card, despite the fact they will still be copied across multiple. I wonder, in this instance, like if I have 3 Jupiter's drones cast deflection, am I getting 3 shield and 3 temporary shield? I definitely hope so. There's also power play over here. Add 1 damage to all attacks. However it hurts you, you lose 1 hull. Oh boy. I am interested in that, but I'm gonna go with deflection here. I think that's a much safer choice. Oh, hello, Wizbo. Oh god, no! It's Halt! Oh! Okay, I need to do as much damage as is possible, as quickly as is possible. I'm gonna summon a drone and then dodge out of the way of the enemy. Gain some evasive maneuvering. The overburn is actually going to murder me. Summon a Jupiter's Moon, and then Deflection. Okay, that's unfortunate. So it gives me the instance of that card being played, not the instance of that card being copied multiple times. It's worth noting, attack and card are different in this game, so I could have determined how that was going to work based on the fact that Jupiter Drone says every time you attack, this drone copies your attack. A card can attack multiple times, whereas an attack card can't shield you, for instance. An attack card can, but an attack can't shield you, rather. Oh boy. Did you have to do that to my shit? But was it entirely necessary? Oh, multi-shot would be so good right now. In order to keep up the aggression, I'm going to need to use multi-shot here and just accept the fact that I'm going to take one hull damage. I mean, that was always going to happen to the overheat there. I really wish I had my A last turn rather than this turn, where I really can't use it. Ugh. It's possible I just don't have the ability to put out enough damage to kill this enemy fast enough. Absolute nightmare if that's the case. Use a Toxic and then lunge, doing at least 3 damage. Summon another moon. Ooh, multi-shot and then lunge. That's really good. And in fact, that's enough to kill. Okay, so this deck has like a very quick turnaround time on a win. Got it. Missile shot, that would have a 2 damage attack associated with it, but it also launches a missile from the missile bay, so it'd take itself out a lot of the time. Attack drone and big shield. Nope. I don't have the shield capacity for big shield, certainly. Jupiter's Moon. Lunge to get out of the way entirely of it. And then gain a basic dodge for a future turn. I'm more than happy to generate moons every available turn. Summon another moon. Multi-shot with the moons. Completely miss. Moves the enemy out of the way, and I have another moon on board. Oh, perfect. I'll just move one to the left, summon another moon, gain a basic shift and a basic dodge for mobility later. I'm gonna lunge. And then summon another moon. Do I want to move over and summon an attack drone as well? I think not. I'll fire the multi-shot though, just to watch the fireworks, even if it completely misses. Perfect. Move one space over. Jupiter's Moon. Go for it. They were all locked down that time. Oh wow, they're locked down this time as well. Get him with a deflection. Ooh, these are all really good here. Okay, so Escalate. Overdrive. Add 1 damage to all attacks, decrease by 1 at the end of the turn. So I could put this in a position where I give it Retain, so I hold it for exactly the turn when I'm firing my multi-shot, and then suddenly my multi-shot pops off. There's also Flex Move though, which is a really good utility in a world where I don't have rigs in the base deck, because it would give me a lot of access to evade for a deck that otherwise doesn't have rigs. Or I can just nail down my damage more, get multi-shot. I'd honestly be more keen to have another escalate after I get another multi-shot, so I'm gonna go for the multi-shot first, and then as soon as I see my next escalation, I'm going there. Honk honk, here comes 3 clowns in a clown car. Hey, Drake, come on. I told you that in privacy. Don't embarrass yourself. I'm gonna use a Jupiter's Moon, parallel shift everything over, and then send out an attack drone. I'll take no hits this turn, the enemy will take 1. And of course, I've got a Jupiter's Moon already up on the board, and I get to follow up on that very effectively here, summoning another moon next to the original, and then duping a 2 damage attack. And I know that I've got both of my multi-shots left in my drawer. Oh, but unfortunately the enemy also knew, and decided not to stand in the right position for me. That'll do. Let's give him a big old deflection. And I'll lunge out of the way in order to make sure that I take some brittle damage. Or rather, I'll shift things over by 1 and then not take any. I like the Jupiter drone. It's good. Oh, wow. Barrage. Shot move, shot move, shot. Yep. Prepare the batteries, gain an extra energy on the first turn, or permanently gain 3 max hull and heal 3 on pickup. I'm gonna take the prepped batteries.
Oh, hello, dearies. What brings you to Grandma's Bakery and Weapons Market today?
Weapons! Carrot cake. Both?
Have a look around.
Considering I've already removed 2 cards from the deck, the impact of removing any other card is disproportionately represented. Like, if I removed the attack drone, which I'm often not going to play, I otherwise have a drone to play every single turn already. That could be good for us.
Come back soon.
Why is your border the pirate border? Jettison Hatch. You may remove 2 cards at repair yards. Oh my god. Are we doing a thin deck run? I mean, what would the best thin deck run for this build be? It would effectively be deflection, barrage, multi-shot, multi-shot, shift, parallel shift. Pretty much.
Huh. I was picking up a signal at this abandoned shipyard, but as soon as we dropped out of hyperspace, it vanished. Ooh, a mystery signal! We could try and patch up the hull.
Trying to repair the ship. Heal 2 hulls, 67% chance went to combat. Oh, I actually healed the hull! I've never done that before. It's always been combat.
Okay, we're patch up. Aw, no weird space monster or anything?
Hey, we've met before, right?
Most loops, yeah.
I don't remember that we're in a loop until I run into you guys. Do you always remember?
We do.
Ah, so it's your fault somehow. I've got the moral high ground now, suckers. Hard to argue with that. I don't want to shift the drone, but I do want to gain the drone shift. So I'll play parallel shift before I put the moon out on the board. And then I can either fire for 2 damage on the enemy, yeah, or I can set myself up right now. I'll set. Let's gain some shield and burn out the corrupted core. Ooh, no. Temporary payback. Whenever the ship is hit, it will immediately launch a 2 damage attack. I don't want that. Okay, if I move 1 to the side, fire out a drone, Gain a basic dodge so I can move one more, and then move the drones over. I can try and avoid the impact of this turn, and I can still get a multi-shot off. Not that it does anything, as the enemy already had temporary health in that position. Ooh, this does things, though. Multi-shot for 4 damage, and then barrage for some repositioning, as well as another 6. Oh, I'm so glad that both of them missed there. Otherwise, the cannon would have been... Well, I guess one of the cannons would have hit me. It could have been worse, I guess. Let's parallel shift over, summon another moon. And I definitely can't attack this turn, so I'm shield surging. Perfect. A basic dodge over 1 space, another Jupiter's moon, and get him! So, because the associated thing doesn't happen, the attack is the thing that's copied, not the association. That would mean... that front-loaded blast would be really good. Especially upgrading it to 0. Like, yes, I will have 3 fumes in the draw pile, which is always the downside of front-loaded blast, but for that cost... I, number 1, can fire this on a turn where I've already spent all of my setup and positioning, for all of my energy on setup and positioning, but it's also duplicating 4 damage. Without giving me additional fumes for it. It has to be front-loaded blast. Jet thrusters, gain 2 evade on the first turn, or wave control, gain 3 drone shift on the first turn. I was literally just thinking that, like, oh, evade on the first turn, that's pretty good, but drone shift might be better. 3 drone shift, yes. Upgrading front-loaded blast is huge. Upgrading barrage is huge. That's an additional 2 damage. Upgrading any of the multi-shots is huge. Removal is a little worse now because the front-loaded blast is already going to be siphoning things into the deck. I will upgrade the barrage. I believe that'll make it like a boss shredding tool for us. So I want to get a drone out, and then I want to get it away from my drone launch bay. So I can Jupiter's moon and then parallel shift it over. Then I could use deflection. Incoming damage this turn would be 2, but I would protect myself against it entirely. The alternative would be taking 2 damage, but doing 5. I think it's more important while I'm still establishing drones to be safe. Drone, shift. Do I spend 1 evade to save 1 shield this turn? No, evade is at a premium for us still. Oh, second drone out with no difficulties, and I can fire off a good multi-shot here. Okay, next turn is pretty reliably, I move to the left, fire another Jupiter's drone, Jupiter's moon, and then fire a front-loaded blast. The only problem is with that, I believe, yeah, I'm drawing this as my hand of 5, which means that the first 3 cards that I draw, none of the fumes will be split among different hands. They will all be in the exact same hand, which is going to be a little bit annoying, but I will have done a lot of damage, so it will have been worth it. In response to that, maybe I want to use the Corrupted Core here to make sure that not all of my deck is completely trash. Okay, one over to the left. Jupiter's moon. 12 damage. There's all the fumes in the draw pile now. I suspect I'll actually gain 3 more damage on the enemy and prevent any incoming damage to my shielding this turn. Yeah, it seems a little bit better. I can do 3 damage here. And it only costs me... I mean, I'm burning out all the fumes, right? I can do 3 damage here, and it will only cost me taking 1 damage to my own hull. That's pretty good. I'm gonna summon another Jupiter's Moon. I'm gonna lunge, deal 3, and take 1. Oh, perfect. I will drone ship the drones over by 2, summon a Jupiter's Moon, and then front-loaded blast for 12 to the enemy, taking him out. That front-loaded blast is so wild. Oh, no. Bay Overload. Gain 3 energy. The ship's missiles and drones will all launch backward, decreased by the end, 1 at the end of the turn. So, I could launch a... Is there an upgrade that would... Yes, okay. Bay Overload B... decreases the energy gain. Oh, that's such bad energy then. I don't even need that much energy in this deck at this point. I can't justify Bay Overload. I was thinking, if I launch my Jupiter's drone and then I have an upgrade like Bay Overload B here, which means you only have 1 missile malfunction and it decreases at the end of the turn, then I can avoid the cost. Woohoo! Not really. Or rather I can, but it's not going to be very impactful. Then, of course, there's Payback. When the ship is hit, it immediately shoots a 1 damage attack. So I would have to have a bunch of drones out on the field for them to be able to actually, offer this attack to the enemies. But at the same time, I need to be taking damage, so I need to not be defended by my drones. It just doesn't seem like Payback has that much utility. Also, there's 2 spaces that I definitely don't want to ever take hits at. And then there's Shield Gun. Damage equal to your shield. I mean... Oh boy. It's bleak, but I'm considering taking none of them. None of these are as powerful as just using the cards I already have in the deck. Shield Gun has more potential, certainly, but its potential I don't believe I intend to exploit. I think I'm dealing more with positioning than I am with actually gaining a large amount of shield. Also, for what it's worth, the fact that I have 3 shield capacity by base here heavily pushes me away from the shield gun. I need to get, capacity increase for it to suddenly be as good as, the Barrage already is. I'm gonna skip. The game won't stop offering me removal. On pickup, remove 3 cards. Ooh, Jupiter Drone Hub V2. 0 cost! A Jupiter Eclipse. I play the Jupiter Drone almost every turn. This is like 1 extra energy a turn. High Frequency Intercom, you draw 2 extra cards. Every turn, you're offered 1 less card in post-battle card rewards and you can no longer skip them. Obviously, I'm going for the Drone Hub.
Howdy! Oh, hey Books. How's it going? I got a new crystal fact for you. Did you know, that if you hold one wish really hard, and wish really hard that you can travel through space and through time? That's cute. Well, look at the time. We'd better get going. Check it out. Okay, 1, 2, oh, let me count down. 3, 2... What?
with you. What was that wish? I wish not to be. Bleak! Books! Bleak! You can say it in a chipper fashion, but it'll still bum everyone at the dinner party out. And summon the Jupiter Eclipse and move it one space over. Perfect, perfect. The incoming damage is way too much. I'm not taking that damage. And you can take that to the bank. You know what? I'm gonna keep up the offense on this one. I'm moving one over to the left myself. Actually, you know what? No, I'll use Drone Shift instead. Ha 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 ha. Then summoning Jupiter Eclipse, I'm gonna fire for 8 damage directly on the hull of the enemy. Fire in a multi-shot as well, why not? And that damage ought to do it, right? Shift one over, Jupiter Eclipse, shift one over, deflect. This deck is very aggressive. Ooh. Oh, wow. Boost capacity is B. 2 extra to shield capacity as well as 2 shield. Oh, that's good. That's actually really good. It's also stun shot B. Do a 0 damage stun. So that saves the Jupiter drone from being hit, effectively, and gain a stun charge. Your next attacks will stun. I don't really need the B upgrade of that. I can theoretically see a situation in which it might be useful, but it's like... not very still. I think there's other stuns that I could put in the deck that would be much more valuable for us. Small boulder, no thank you. I'm actually going to skip these, despite what I said about the boost capacitors. Because I think I am doing a lot better with using my drones and movement as my defense. Now, for what it's worth, removing 2 cards from the deck would actually be pretty sick. Like, dropping Shield Surge and Basic Block at the next repair yard makes this deck so much more dense. So I'll do it. Basic Block. Actually, maybe it's Basic Shift, because I have the Parallel Shift. Yeah, I'll do that. Not just because I have the Parallel Shift, but also because I have the Wave Control. Man, I really want to go on the bottom side and just get the 2 upgrades, but I know that the artifacts are still worth my while. I'm just gonna veer out of the way of the enemy. Even if I lunged, I was still gonna have to move 1 space. Do I want to lunge as well? Get even further away from my currently established drone? No. Took a while to figure it out, though. Look out for that missile, just shoot it. I'm not even going to interact with it. Okay. Jupiter Eclipse, put that on the field. Then Parallel Shift everything over by 1 space. Still not hitting me. Then I'll multi-shot for 4 damage. And I'll multi-shot again for another 4 damage. No! The enemy had an armored party! He's could have done 4 more damage if I just moved it over 1 more space. I can't believe I didn't see that little armored signal there. Alas. I can't use Barrage, as it would just move me into the line where the enemy is attacking at the moment. Well, that's okay. I'm fine with a couple of build-up turns here. It's going to be difficult for me to take out a Seeker Missile, so I might actually just take the damage to it. So if I ship those over and then summon another Jupiter Eclipse... I could deflect for some extra defense. And then fire a multi-shot for some extra damage. If I move one space over... I only lose all of my shielding there. And then a Jupiter Eclipse and double... I didn't even calculate it. I just figured that was going to be enough for the kill, and it wasn't. Alas. That'll still be fine. I'm going to use one basic dodge and move one to the left and completely avoid all damage in doing so. Then a shield surge because parallel shift actually would have been a problem. Eclipse and Barrage. Multi-blast, another very large attack that we'd often like the drones to be copying. Shield drone B. Summon a shield drone to the left and a shield drone in front of you. Those fire back in your direction for one shield to their target per turn. I mean, power play still makes sense here. It's just also very expensive. I'm gonna take it though. It's overdue. Yes, this will be a problem. I'm probably gonna have to sacrifice an Eclipse to the enemy this turn. Oh no, whenever the ship part is shot, that part gets armor for the rest of the turn. But I do multi-attack, that's my thing! Okay, I'm gonna summon the Eclipse. Then I do a deflection. That part is now armored. Then I gotta parallel shift you over and then use multi-shot. Not what we wanted. I will use power play in this fight, even if it costs me a hull. It'll help me offset the effect of the armor that they're doing. I can move myself one to the left and then summon an Eclipse that's lined up with the enemy. Ooh, I could lunge out of here. It only cost me 1 damage to do? Yeah, I'm gonna do it. As in 1 less damage dealt to the enemy because of their armoring. And leaves me in a much better position to do something like this. Jupiter Eclipse, and then each of you do a bunch of damage, unfortunately. Okay, wait. Move you both over by 1 space, then fire a block shot. Now it's just you and me, buddy. Jupiter and a blast. I've also got mines on either side to interrupt the enemy attacks there. Multi-stun. Why? Ooh, another Jupiter drone? Is that actually really good right now? Like, if my build is based around Jupiter drones, is having the ability to set up more of them in fewer turns ridiculously impactful? I think so. Also, because the drones don't move, this would just stun the same position 3 times. That's not useful. I want to do as much damage as possible this turn. I'm going to sacrifice my Jupiter to do so, but I move these over 1 space, I summon the Eclipse, and now I'm going to Barrage. Actually, I could even literally just move the Jupiter out of the way afterwards, and then I'm going to multi-shot, and then multi-shot, and you know what? Yeah, I just move it out of the way safely afterwards. Oh, that was a, that was a severe opening right there. I think I got the kill. I move over 1 space myself, I summon the Jupiter Eclipse, I move over them 1 space, and then front-loaded blast from both. Turn 2. Repair kit. Launch an object from your missile bay, destroying it will heal the destroyer's hull by 2. The only thing is, I can't destroy midline objects, because my attacks come from midline objects. Refresh interval isn't bad, but only on a turn where I know I'm taking damage and don't otherwise have a better plan, and those are few and far between. I want more mobility. What I really want is a flex move now for Isaac. Overclock generator, gain energy every 3rd turn, fracture detection! Make 1 enemy part brittle at the start of each fight, considering I'm firing on so many enemy parts. That seems good. Ion Converter, if you end your turn with more than 0 energy, gain a shield. Often that will come into a useful play here. Is anyone else getting like a really bad headache? No, it's from that high-pitched static. What is that? You all again.
Hello?
Which of you shall I teach this time? Isaac. Choose one of Isaac's cards. God damn it. Yeah. Well. Those are like 2 of the only cards I can't really find any use in. I just have to remove the attack drone later.
Energy readings are back to normal.
Alas, it'll happen. Generate a Jupiter Eclipse out on the board, then I'm going to parallel shift that over, summoning an attack drone in its position instead. I'll shield surge, and then I'll realize I should have block shot for a single damage against the enemy before I did that. I'll do it, but it won't have any impact. I definitely want to get the Barrage A out there. I'm going to move myself 1 to the left, summoning a Jupiter Eclipse. And then I can use Barrage A and multi-shot for 10, 14 damage. Oh, and we found the brittle space. There you go. 2 health left on the enemy. Jupiter's Eclipse, and take out the enemy with the deflection. Sidestep, Endless Magazine. Gain a chip shot at the start of every turn. That's just a 0-cost attack. Yeah, that's a pretty good setup. We have Piercer, your first attack each turn pierces. And permanently gain +2 max shield on pickup. I'm taking the shields reserves. It'll make it much easier to draft a shield-related card. Removing 2 cards from this deck. I mean, attack drone. And I could realistically probably get rid of the block shot at this point. In terms of upgrades, power play not removing hull is pretty good. Multi-shot shooting an additional time is really good. Barrage is already there. Jupiter drone becoming 0 costs, kind of minimal to be honest, compared to a lot of other things. I think it actually is the removal. Get the attack drone out of there, and then the block shot. I also hope I didn't need those. Hi, Riggs? If I move 1 space to the left, I can only have, or I can have only 2 incoming damage. There's not really good options here for me not taking damage though. Okay, so I have to accept. I mean, I don't want to also lose my Eclipse, is a big part of it. Which means I will have to accept some damage. So if I launch the Eclipse and then I have to move to the right twice, I line myself up to take a total of 3 damage. And I would have to move my Eclipse all the way over to try and prevent that. Yeah, I really don't see good ways around this turn. I'm gonna summon the Eclipse. I'm gonna have to move 1 to the left. Can't play the barrage, so it's endless. Corrupted Core and Parallel Shift. It's all set up on this turn and taking damage as well. I don't like it. But it's what had to happen. I don't have to take any damage this turn. And thank heck for that. I can prevent a missile from being summoned as well by launching a chip shot before I put my Eclipse out on the board. Okay. And then I will have to use an Eclipse to defend my health here, so move 1 space over, summon another drone. I'll use a deflection to gain a little bit of shielding here, and I think I need dodge. I think I need some basic dodge. Pretty desperately. I don't want to be locked down like this. If I do things right, the incoming damage this turn will only be 1. If
If I shift everything over to the left by 1, I've got incoming 2 damage. That actually might be the best I can get. Oh no, it's incoming 1 still. Feels like right now is probably the only time in this fight where I get to power play. So I'll do it. And fire on the enemy for a bunch of damage. The missiles misses. Perfect, I'm not taking damage in my current position, so I can Eclipse. Move them over by 1 and then summon another Jupiter drone. And heck, I can even move those over by 1 final in order to stun both of these missiles, but I don't need to stun both of those missiles, I just need to stun one of them. Chip shot and deflection for a bunch of damage, I'll lose 1 more of my Eclipse. This is the big damage hand. I'll move everything over 1 to the left to get another Eclipse out on the field, and then it's time for multi-shots and front-loaded blasts. Neat. Okay, so parry is an attack. Total damage equal to the enemy cannon's attacks in general. I think it would be a very good tool, and I think if I gave this the sticky upgrade, I'd only ever need to fire it once. Table flip, all cards with flippable actions such as move are flippable for the rest of the combat, would give me access to parallel shift, lunge, and barrage being more valuable utility tools. Corrosion Beam B is good, but it doesn't compound upon the strengths of this deck. Parry and I make it sticky. I think that's a good idea. Warp Mastery replaces Warp Prep, gain 3 shield and 3 evade on the first turn. Power Diversion, 1 extra energy every turn. All non-parry card attacks deal 1 less damage. 1 extra energy every turn, and Deflection deals 1 less damage? Yes, thank you! Simplicity, 3 removal. Hard to tell me that's not going to be a great idea. Oh my god, I'm getting 2 drones out this turn. Drone number 1. Then move it away. Drone number 2. Gain endless magazine. And do I want a power play? I probably don't need to be entirely honest. Yeah, I don't need to. I'll move myself 1 space over and send out another Jupiter drone. Burn out Corrupted Core and Shield Surge, because I know they're both being played this turn. How much do I care about 5 extra damage? 1 drone shift's worth of care about 5 extra damage. Multi-shot, multi-shot, chip shot. Oh! We're hitting the brittle. Oh my god. Here's the Eclipse. And now parry. The first one did it. It still had 2 more shots. Other boost capacitors, a missile shot and deflection. No thank you, don't need those. Dance's value is on the bottom line. Alright, let's
Let's do this, Brimford. If I recall correctly, I do have one in this deck that I was like, I actually really would prefer the other upgrade. No, I didn't take it? Oh my god, yeah, I had something... Something was offered to me that I was like, yeah, I would infinitely prefer the other upgrade, but... Alas. Cool. Never mind, I don't need to do that. Definitely going to be upgrading a card here. Parry, you need to become magnetic. I'm saving you for exactly the right turn, and then you'll end a fight for me. Bet you won't let us shuffle all your ship parts.
Please don't.
Ah, it'll be fun. Shuffle your ship parts and gain 1 max hull. Honestly, the Missile Bay being directly between my weak and my brittle spaces is really good for me right now. I'm not going to take that. You really think your current current layout's optimal? Kinda, yeah. Oh, perfect. I'll take some setup. Maybe I should use the barrage already. Yeah. Well, that gives it the ability to instantly attack this round. I might not have done that had I known. Oh boy, the incoming's actually pretty harsh here. Let's get a Jupiter out there, move it over, get another Jupiter out there. I'm gonna take damage this turn. I have to use deflection for safety's sake. Oh man. Another Jupiter's drawn out there and then parry for 30 damage. I mean, parry does make a good case of how I would try and take out the shopkeep. Not taking any of these boulders though. Revenge Drive. The first time you lose hull each turn, gain an overdrive. Overclock generator, gain energy every third turn. I think I have more energy than I need, and I think if I allow it, I can use power play to trigger a power drive and an overdrive on the same turn. Crosslink every third time you attack, gain an evade. That's gonna be so much. Wait, I attack? It's possible that's gonna be a huge amount of evade or none. It's one of the two, and I don't know which. All right, launch the Eclipse. Send out a barrage. Am I gonna need some additional defense? I suspect so. I'll use a deflection. And then I'm even gonna use a basic dodge. Shift those over the right one in order to keep my Jupiter drone alive. I was thinking of a truly absurd turn where I try and kill the enemy right now. Realistically, it's much better if I just get out of the way. Crosslink, good. I got it. Okay, I lunge. And then I move the spaces over by 1, summon Jupiter Eclipse, move them over again, and then I parry. Oh, it's so good. Momentum, Battalion, and Corrosion Beam B. No, thank you. Okay, Jupiter Eclipse, move it over, Jupiter Drone. And let's fire some barrages. Oh, here I was really hoping I would have discovered the brittle part there. Alas, the enemy is down on 3 health. Summon another Eclipse, move him over, and parry. Oh, am I about to try and battle the Shopkeeper again? Am I really about to try and do that to myself? Multi-Blast A, 6 damage for 2 energy. That's huge. Still take that. Oh, man. It ultimately ends up coming down to one of my opening draws, right? Because if I put myself in a position where I can't keep any of the drones alive, and I also can't launch an attack out on the same turn, I basically get to live like 1 turn maximum, because I don't have much movement. I don't think I can do it. I legitimately don't think I can do it. If I drew on the first turn, Jupiter Drone and parry B, I'd be able to do it. I don't think I can. I'll take another upgrade. Power playing no longer removing hulls, pretty good. Deflection for more damage and more shield though. Maybe the deep impact I'm looking for here. Let's do it. Time check.
4 milliseconds.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. I'm gonna put an Eclipse drone out on the field. Then I'm gonna launch, canceling the intent that was directly opposite that. Then I'll summon a Jupiter drone. Then I can parry for 22 damage. Parry will always be powerful though, and I can instead use... Oh no! I've now put myself in a position where if I don't parry, I'm not going to be able to prevent the cannon hit. Dang. I'll take 1 damage this turn. It's okay. It's Jupiter Eclipse, and then I can move them 1 space to the left. To the right, sorry. I'm going to be taking 2 damage to my hull this turn. But it'll set me up to do so much damage. Multi-Blast A. 30 damage from each of my units on the field. One of them's doing 2 less, one of them's doing 2 more, so 30 damage. I mean, realistically, I don't need to do anything. Get him with the barrage. You are growing stronger. Who shall it be this time? Oh, right, of course, I finished Dizzy's. Let's continue with Isaac, who I believe I've already gotten 1 or 2 of? Hey. You are not afraid like the others. Why? I don't know. You're like omnipotent? Yeah, you seem to have this whole thing figured out. I am not. We are all still in great peril. Oh. Shoot. Memory 2. T-minus 201 days. Hand me that screwdriver. What you doing? This drone needs a new sensor array. The radiation in the cores fried them pretty quick.
You know, before I started, I used to go in there myself.
What? In a rad suit, right?
Of course! I'm not that irresponsible.
Okay. Well, that's little Jeffy all patched up.
Little Jeffy? You name the drones?
Yeah, they're my little guys.
Can I name one?
Sure. Let's see. Here, this one hasn't been booted up yet. Give it a name.
Dizzy Jr.
Try again. You know what? The Void is right. Isaac is good at naming things. Here's our run, quite simple to a T, not a ridiculous amount of things in the deck, nor the artifacts, not a ridiculous amount of interactions we were working with, just heavily exploiting those Jupiter drones and the ability to multiply attacks. Unlock condition is win 10 runs to unlock this ship. Alright, so we're halfway there, and hopefully we will be there in just a couple more episodes, but for the moment, my name's Rhapsody, the name of the game has been Cobalt Core. As it turns out, an hour-long episode can be a win. It's always good to know, you see, as sometimes an hour means the run is lost, and sometimes it means it's just convincing as hell. Hopefully we'll see you next time.